Well, couldn't come out on a morning like this without visiting at least one popular tourist destination. Liverpool's most famous street sign or road sign, Penny Lane, of course.
Penny Lane, there is a barber showing photographs of every head.
Well, hello again. Welcome to my latest video. This time it's a look back at the Sony NEX 5, which is a camera that I purchased a good few years ago now. It was launched in 2010, and I bought it when I wanted to change from DSLRs to mirrorless. It was relatively early days for mirrorless cameras, and at the time that I was in the market for one, this appeared to offer me the specifications that I wanted, together with a much smaller, more compact overall size than the Nikon DSLR that I was used to. So that's why I bought it. I'm going to show you a few images that I've taken very recently down at the Albert Dock in Liverpool, together with a couple that I took when I first got it, to illustrate that the camera can deliver the goods. But the question is, would I recommend it in 2022? Keep watching and you'll get the answer at the end. So let's get on with it. Well, there we are. You've seen the images that I took down at the Albert Dock just a few days ago, and a couple that I took when I first bought the camera. The question that I posed at the beginning was, would I recommend this camera in 2022? Now, the biggest issue that I have with it, well, there are two really. First and foremost is the menu system, which is weird and it's really illogical from a photographer's point of view. I'm going to show you a clip now which I hope will explain that. Now, the shutter speed and aperture are changed by rotating the command dial on the back here, and as I change it you can see that the first value that's changing is the shutter speed. At the moment it's set to 1/100th of a second. Now that's all well and good, but to change the aperture you have to press the down pad on the same control dial, and then it highlights the apertures and you can change them accordingly. So it's counterintuitive, in my opinion, to use a camera in this way. Normally I would expect and find it much quicker and easier to have two separate controls for aperture and shutter speed rather than the one dial doing two jobs. Not good. We'll go back to the menu. It took me ages to remember how on earth you get to the ISO settings, and completely illogically they are in the brightness and color setting folder, which to my mind is just bonkers. So you have to get into this setting to change your ISO, white balance, metering mode, etc. Just doesn't make any sense from a photographic point of view. All the images that I've shown you so far have been taken at an ISO rating of 200, which is the base level for the NEX5. I thought it only fair to show you a couple of images taken at the other end of the scale. These are both shot at 12,800 ISO to illustrate the sort of results that you can expect. And from the point of view of cameras in 2022, it leaves an awful lot to be desired. I'm not going to say they're unusable. They probably are, in my opinion, unusable as color images, not only because of the amount of noise that is generated, but also there is banding in the shadows. And if I just show you the image at 100%, you can see exactly what I mean here. There's an awful lot of noise involved, a distinct magenta cast, particularly in the shadow areas. And down here in the darkest part of the image you can see the vertical banding, which is just really sort of unacceptable. And the other shot that I took while I was out and about this morning, I've cropped to a square format, and here we have a much brighter subject, so the noise isn't as immediately apparent. But if we zoom into 100%, again you can see there is noise, and although it's not as noticeable in this image, there is a distinct magenta cast, particularly to this grey concrete area that you can see here. So unfortunately, from a colour photography point of view, in my humble opinion, I wouldn't like to use this camera regularly at much more than, say, 800 ISO. So you've seen the kind of issues that I have with the menu system. You can work around them, and obviously if you were to use it day in, day out, then you would get very used to the menu system. But it's not just the menu system, it's the fact that the control dials, the command dial on the back doubles up, and that's never a good thing. It also means that the settings are far too easy to accidentally change. simply because they are controlled in manual mode. Well, in any of the modes actually, they are altered by rotating the command dial. There are no dedicated function buttons either. I think it illustrates that when Sony decided to enter this particular market, it's pretty clear that they were coming to it from the point of view of a consumer electronics company rather than a camera manufacturing background, hence the quirkiness of the menu system. So have I been telling you porcupines for the past few months, saying that I'm not really bothered about what camera you use to get your images? No, I've not been lying to you, that still holds good. But there's a distinction between having a camera that will deliver the goods from a technical point of view and having a camera that is pleasing to use and logical to use. The Sony NEX5 isn't either of those things, in my opinion. Would I recommend buying it in 2022? The answer is an unequivocal no. There are many better cameras that you can buy. The fact that it doesn't have a viewfinder is a downside, but having said that, younger people and people used to using their smartphones for photography won't find that an issue at all. I hope you've enjoyed the video and my opinion for what it's worth. More importantly, I hope that you enjoyed the very tranquil guitar music that was playing in the background at the Albert Dock. That was provided by a good friend and fellow YouTuber, TC Connor, who is over there in the USA. TC is a musician, a photographer and a drone pilot. If you haven't already seen his channel, I strongly suggest you take a look. There'll be a link in the description down below. So until the next time, I'd like to say a huge thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing. If you don't, then by all means give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, don't mind. But until the next time, stay safe, enjoy your photography, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye for now.